In Minneapolis earlier today, the temps were frigid, but things got very hot, very dangerous, when the Daily Caller News Foundation's Jorge Ventura tried to report what he was seeing.
He said that these cars actually look like ice, and they're actually following them. So we're actually seeing this in real time. Hey, how you doing, man? You're right next to me. I can film here, buddy. It's a public sidewalk. Why did you try to steal my phone right now?
You guys gotta get out here, man.
Oh, no, he's pushing me, man. Go to me.
Get in the car and get out of here. Get in the car.
You can't.
Get in the car, man.
Here with me is the journalist who was attacked by anti-ICE goons, the Daily Caller's Jorge Ventura. Jorge, first, I know you and your colleague were banged up there. Was that guy aggressive from the start, and he felt totally fine with policing his border?
Yeah, Laura, these left-wing activists were very aggressive. This was called a filter blockade. It was essentially a makeshift checkpoint in Minneapolis. This was located on Cedar Avenue and 32nd. And I arrived earlier this morning alongside photojournalist Eric Herrera. We were only planning to really stay a few minutes, take a few images of this blockade. I honestly couldn't even believe that it was still up. More than 24 hours, I didn't see any local law enforcement when I arrived. As soon as we got there, the agitators were very aggressive, questioning me. What I found interesting is we actually started documenting them actually stopping vehicles, stopping American citizens, asking for ID, and actually running their license plates. They said that they were running these license plates and turning them over into a database to see if they were ICE agents. And while we were documenting this, our Uber driver was parked to the side. They actually ran the license plate of his car, and they actually accused him of being an ICE agent. He was a Somalian Uber driver, so that didn't make any sense, but just kind of shows you how well organized these agitators are.
So they were checking IDs. I don't think that's legal, right? So to the extent that they detain people or make people feel like they can't leave, I mean, that's borderline false imprisonment under law, right? General legal principles. So they can't do that. Did you get a sense of why they felt that they were entitled to behave this way? Was it a feeling of, you know, they can do this with impunity, no consequences?
I say they are emboldened by the rhetoric from the local politicians and even the local police force here in Minneapolis. If you even speak to the protesters, 90% of them are white liberals, and they do feel like they're fighting a Gestapo. And when we were there documenting, they actually started to assault us very brutally, shoved me very aggressively. They made several attempts to actually steal my phone, so I couldn't publish the footage that we just showed right now. They actually caused my right hand to bleed. They attacked the photojournalist I was with, Eric Herrera, and they do this, Lord, because they want to deter journalists like myself who actually show the truth of what's going on the ground, and we would not be deterred at the Daily Caller News Foundation.
Yeah, good for you, Jorge. I felt that when I was there, just for a brief interlude in that crowd. They're not pleasant people, for sure. Jorge, I'm glad you're okay. Thank you for doing what you're doing out there. Stay strong.
I can't.
Fucking point of media. You're a disgrace. You're a fucking disgrace. That other fucking.
So what's happened here, they've got immigrants coming into their towns and they're outnumbering the people that live in the towns. They're combat age males, they're not families, and this is a council meeting about it.
Country of over 600 immigrants been housed in one place, representing nearly 3% of the population, and what has the impact been on those areas with a high level of immigrants? And the third part, how is security in around the site going to protect the general population of the town when they are free to go and come and go as they please? And I would like you to answer those questions specifically, not wander around, okay? So specific answers.
Andrew, do you want to start with whether this has happened anywhere else and what the repercussions have been?
So the camp that you have referred to before in Wethersfield, about 20 minutes outside of Braintree, has been operating with around 800 people, 800 single adult men on site for about 18 months. It's currently, the capacity is higher than that, and we believe with the contributions of local police, council and health services, we've run it effectively. let me try and pick up the other two. I think the first question was about how we're going to run it. I've mentioned it's got 24/7 security on site.
We're going to run it on taxpayers' money. That's how they're going to run it.
We'll have all of the services that we need to meet the needs of the individuals on site. That includes interactions with them that will pick up any behavioural or issues that might arise, or any cause for concern. That's why it's so crucial that we have not just policing colleagues involved, but local authority colleagues with social care expertise as well. Apologies, the final part of your question was...
So if you just tell me, I'll read it. Well, we take the microphone away so that we can hear what his answers are, sir. If you could repeat the third part of your question, sir.
Hello. The problem is, and I think this reflects the views of the whole of this room, he hasn't actually answered one of the questions that I've raised. We'll come to the third one. How is security in and around the site going to protect the general population of the town when they are free to come and go from the camp as they please? I don't answer that question.
So just as we've done in Wethersfield, as we did with the Bibby Stockholm, we ensured that we had the ability to transport occupants away from the immediate vicinity, that we had meaningful things for them to do on site, so that they weren't simply chipping into the local neighbourhood. We've shown that we can do that effectively, and I believe that we can do it effectively here as well.
Well, if you can believe that, you're a better person than I am. They don't care. The Labor Party in the UK has been grilled for continuing migrant camps despite potential fallout warnings.
Good evening. The Labour government was warned that moving 600 illegal immigrants into a military barracks in the British countryside could cause riots, but they did it anyway. They bust some illegals in under the cover of darkness just over a week ago, and now it can be revealed that Steve Reed, the community secretary, was warned. Quote, the proposal may give rise to anxiety amongst local residents, which may be adversely affected by protesters, demonstrators, or riots. The impact assessment said that in an attempt to ease concerns, the Home Office would set up a forum as, quote, a chance to address anxieties and produce meaningful mitigations should they be identified as necessary. Right, should we just see how one of these community forums went?
To him, and then Jack, can we come to the two ladies at the back? Sir first.
Yeah, how do you plan to meet the sexual needs of 600 men?
Andrew, did you hear the question?
Yeah, I said I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, great stuff. There's 600 men in the area. What could go wrong? And the Green Party co-deputy leader got absolutely roasted as well.
My second question is actually directly to you, Rachel. It does actually go to you as well, James. You did a video the other day, Rachel, saying that all of these people, you know, doctors and engineers and surgeons that are coming here, and we should give them the right to work. Now, firstly, engineers, doctors and surgeons do not come from France on a dinghy and throw their medical certificate overboard. It's very clear to me that you really don't understand the small boat crisis. So therefore, I'm going to say, why don't you resign, both of you, and make way for someone who understands the crisis?
But this is the worst bit for me. I think they tried to gaslight the public by saying this. They said there is no previous evidence to indicate that asylum seeker accommodation results in a perceived or actual increase in crime or fear of crime, including with regards to the impacts of the health of people living nearby. This is what they said about the people of Crowborough, right? This army barracks where they've just bust a load of illegals in. And this is not true. According to The Sun, in the first 6 months of 2025, 1 in every 100 illegal immigrants in hotels have been accused of committing a crime. The Sun investigation reported that the alleged crimes included rape, robbery and GBH. Police told residents in Altrincham, kind of Greater Manchester area, the same thing.
Today, I can assure you we've had asylum seekers in Trafford for several years, and there has been no spike in crime, there has been no increase in crime that's attributed to these asylum seekers.
Rubbish. A convicted paedophile on the run from German authorities was arrested last October at the Britannia Ashley Hotel in Hale, just down the road from where that police officer was talking. That bloke was deported last week. On Thursday, we are going to the sentencing of an asylum seeker who sexually assaulted a teenage girl in Hertfordshire. According to the Migration Observatory, Afghans are 14.5 times more likely to commit a sex crime than Brits. We've just had the sentencing of a Sudanese lunatic who stabbed an innocent young woman to death with a screwdriver in Walsall. He was filmed drinking alcohol and dancing as police and ambulance sirens blared in the background. What an absolute monster. And what this Labour government isn't factoring in is the changes people will make to their way of life. Just not letting kids walk to school on their own, not letting their daughters go out at night. They don't care, do they? They don't care about us. They don't care about our safety. They don't care about how we feel. They don't care about our way of life. They just care about illegal immigrants. There's no...
Earlier on today, I went down to the sleepy town of Crowborough to speak to real people whose lives are going to be turned upside down with the arrival of illegal migrants at the local military base there. They kicked out cadets, of course. Let's put it this way, they did not hold back.
I'm Denise.
And where are you from, Denise?
I'm originally from London. I moved to Crowborough in 1996. And I never felt so safe, which I don't now.
And what's brought you out here today?
For all the females. I know men are affected as well, but, you know, I was going to the gym. I go to the gym in the evening, about 6 o'clock. I saw an approximately 18-year-old girl walking her dog, and I just looked at her and thought, you won't be able to do that anymore. I'm speaking for the females here. We're a population of approximately 21,000. I know that they're in other places of the country. Bolton, there's 310,000 population in Bolton. You know, they can be absorbed. We can't absorb them.
Originally from up north, but I live in Brighton, which is it took us 20 minutes to get here today, so we're not very far away. We just came for support and solidarity for Crowborough. You know, it starts here, it's coming to all of us. You know, we've got Bella Sankey, who's our Labour leader in Brighton, and she's just accepted to go on the pilot scheme to build a load of new houses for asylum seekers. So, you know, it's coming to us. It's coming to us really, really soon.
Why are you here? What's the importance of this protest?
We're here to protect our community. You know, they've moved. Don't get us wrong, we're not racist. If they came the correct way for asylum, then, you know, that's great. But when they jump in dinghies and come across their channel and then they're shipped out, it's all completely wrong.
Are you locals? Why is this important?
Yes, we moved to Crowborough 4 years ago after retiring, working in London. Wanted to retire in a lovely place, which we did. And then they've done this to us. They've put undocumented men into our area that we do not want, we've never asked for, and we're just so appalled that they're doing this to us. The army training camp, they keep putting out that it's a disused. It wasn't a disused camp. It was used regularly by hundreds of air cadets, and then they've got the flight simulator in there that they were using. It was a training camp, and they've taken that away from the area, so our young people got nothing to do. Sick to death of listening to people that say, oh, we can't do that because of the blob. We can't do that because of human rights. What about our human rights? I worked in London for 42 years, my husband worked for 49 years, and now we've got to put up with this. If I went to any other country in the world, they would give me nothing. They would tell me, there's a plane, get out. We don't want you, we're not looking after you. So why should we look after people that have never worked in this country, never paid into this government, never contributed to anything, and that they come in and take, and I'm sick to death of it.
We just feel it.
If you go next to Tommy, we're now live and this is for real. We're now live, when we say this for real, because we just done an interview that I thought was live and it wasn't, so we're going to do it again. So, we're summarising. No, I want to ask you the same. So
I've still got the passion, don't you worry.
We're in Braintree. This young lady has become the face of these demonstrations online, certainly shared and discussing this content. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Shell, but I go by Free Speech Shell on X, and I live in Braintree. I've lived in Braintree all my life, and my family originate from the East End.
What's brought you here today? Why are we protesting? What are you protesting about?
So I was a victim of migrant crime, and it's driven me to want to support my community because so many people are living in fear. My inbox is full of messages from women who have had things happen to them. They feel that they report it to the police and it isn't dealt with, they're gaslit, and I want to stand up for them and say, no, we're going to not have this here.
Can I ask you, something's changed, because in the last 24 months, there's so many ladies like yourself, mums, who are now speaking out on camera, organising themselves across the country in different towns and cities. Lots of these demonstrations, the vocal faces of them are women. Why is that? What's changed that's brought you out on the street that's making you willing to stand and put your face on camera?
Because I don't want to watch the women of this country turn into invisible creatures. I mean, you've only got to look what's happening in Afghanistan, you know, in Iran. Women are silenced, they're seen as second-class citizens. And do you know what? We all come from women, so why shouldn't women be powerful and strong? They should be suppressed.
In this area, let's just give the history quickly, yeah? So the history, if I'm right, is that there's an army base here where they put 800 migrants in. The local council tried to fight the Home Office. There was a 3-year battle, 3 judicial reviews. Keir Starmer, before the election, promised to close down this military base housing these migrants, but rather than close it down, he increased the capacity by 50%, so he's totally lied. This is the problem with politicians in the UK. Think about Trump. He says what he's going to do, he does it. They lie, they promise us things. Now, how far is the army barracks from here?
So it's about 20-25 minutes.
And so how do the migrants get from the army barracks? How do they affect this town centre if they're out there?
So what happens is the Home Office has a contract with Clear Springs, who manage the base, and they provide a bus service by Foster and Hartley, who bus the migrants into the town. On a Thursday, that can be anywhere between 300 to 500 migrants.
Families, children?
No, all men.
So 300 to 500 migrant men, undocumented, are brought from an army barracks into this small town centre every week.
They are, and to have parties and events held by Care for Calais, paid for with taxpayers' money.
Care for Calais are?
Care for Calais are a charity that, in my opinion, are part of the actual smuggling gangs. I believe that they are facilitating migrants coming to this country.
Well, they are. That's exactly what their job is.
Yeah, I mean, we've also got them infiltrating churches here. I've got people that are congregation members that have been in the church for years. A family that even had their grandmother actually paid for this church to be built and an extension, and they've left the church because of the migrants going in there.
These 300 to 500 men that are busting here each week, has that had an effect on any local business, do you know?
100%. I mean, you'll speak with someone today that I know that he's a market stall holder. He's 50% down. He sees the migrants withdraw money from the cash machine and go and spend it in a betting shop. I had a betting shop whistleblower, I had a vape shop whistleblower. These are people speaking out that are sick of it and they're scared. They're thinking they're going to get hurt.
These whistleblowers, are they coming to you?
They're coming to me.
They're not going to local media?
Absolutely not.
Something insane is going on, though. There is a creation of activists, general members of the public. Rather than people, the media telling these stories, normal citizens are stepping forward and they're telling the stories of the people. There's a big detachment now between the media and the people. Where these sorts of whistleblowers, the media should be telling these stories. Yeah. The local press.
Yeah, they're not interested. They're not interested.
The local press aren't interested in... And tell me, you speak to lots of women, you speak to lots of business owners. Has there been any instance of harassment, sexual harassment, with regards to young girls, women in this town from these migrants?
Yes, so there's a few establishments that are open after 5 p.m. in the evenings, and we've had migrants go into the window, the girls alone working, blowing kisses, banging on the window. During the day there was a schoolgirl walking and they were harassing her, so one of the ladies in the shop went out and they said to the migrant, leave her alone. It was a Somalian man, he was very intimidating. Broomfield Hospital, obviously recently there was a sexual assault of a nurse. Now this nurse was treating a migrant in intensive care, okay?
And he sexually assaulted her?
Sexually assaulted her. He's got caught on the 16th of February, Chelmsford Magistrates.
So we're not talking about rumours anymore, we're talking about a case where a migrant from the local army barracks has now sexually assaulted an emergency worker.
Yeah. And he not just did that, he exposed himself outside the front of the hospital and urinated on the floor in front of women and children.
He's back in the base too,
yeah, he's been bailed back to the base, and we haven't had it confirmed if this migrant is actually allowed out. But I would imagine he is.
He will be allowed out. They can't stop him.
Yeah, the Home Office will be told, it's against his human rights. Well, what about the human rights of these women in this town
so
who are worried?
He's not been remanded into prison, so the local community is still in danger of this man, let alone the others who we don't.
He's pled guilty. Be forever suppressed and covered up and not have a voice. And you don't want to just do it for you want to do it for the women in Iran and Afghanistan. These people with lived experiences. So you have a voice, you need to use it, otherwise you're going to lose it. And that is the truth of the matter.
And what about if they're scared? Let me ask you again, think of you,
yeah.
And I said to him, I used to get my activism, I used to get my ex-wife was scared for me, her parents were scared for her, my mum was scared for me, family must be scared for me, just speaking honestly.
Yeah.
So what's that been like?
They are scared for me, and a lot of them have said, please don't do this, there's no going back, but I don't want to go back. My eyes are fully awake.
It's going on, and I don't want this to happen to people, so if it means I've got to sacrifice myself,
I don't really care anymore.
Can I hear, we're going to sit down and have a proper sit-down interview, because your family lived under threat. There were some incidents. Can you briefly just give us a quick summary of what happened? Because I don't think I'll do it justice. I want to show people the videos.
Yeah.
There were some insane videos. Can you explain?
Look, for a good 16 months, I was completely harassed. My life was put at threat. I was 9 months pregnant. I come home to I was home in my house after this attack with the sword, and many, many horrendous things happened to me mentally and physically. And the whole time, I really trusted God. I was reading the Bible, I was praying, and I've got to this point now in my life where I know that God was supporting me, and I feel this happened to me for a reason. It was to do good with it.
So basically, your family lived in a home, there was a Muslim migrant in the property next door to you. There's evidence and video of him with machetes. He attacks your house with a sword whilst your family are inside. Tell me how terrifying that was. What was you thinking when you were in the house?
So I wasn't actually home at the time.
But there's the ring doorbell, he's smashing his way in.
Yeah, so look, he rang the police the day before he did that to my house, and he told the police what he was going to do.
And what did the police do?
I didn't know about this till I found the IOPC report. I went to...
So once he's attacked your house with a sword, you get the report which shows that he told the police the day before he was going to do it. And they didn't do anything?
No, they didn't do anything.
We're going to cover this We're going to cover this properly because we need to expose the police failures here. There's a video of him on your
on the driveway with a machete before this.
Yeah.
What did you call the police about the machete?
I went to Crime Stoppers Anonymous because I was terrified. He came out in the middle of the night with a machete in his underpants. In his underpants, drunk, smashing the hell out of a plant, right? Shouting his wife's name because he beat his wife. Now, I reported that to Crime Stoppers. I heard nothing. Then not long after that, he got arrested for domestic violence, and then I told the police some information because I was scared and I provided the video. Do you know what Essex Police said to me? You sure he's not doing gardening?
You've got to see the video. This is the problem here. This isn't just about migrants coming in. This is about and undocumented migrants. This is about the failure of the authorities, the police and the government to deal with their crimes, but also to protect British citizens.
If I hadn't have been mentally okay, I would have broken down. But all I kept doing is having faith because I thought when people see everything to do with this, they will understand.
But that's only because you recorded everything.
Yeah.
If you didn't record everything, which we've got the videos, would he be getting done and would anything be happening?
Do you know what? I don't think it would, and I think I'd probably be dead if I'm deadly serious.
Continue.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is common knowledge. He assaulted a police officer. He got a suspended sentence for that outside my house. Headbutted a female police officer. If that was anybody else,
by the female police officer, getting 10 years.
Exactly, yeah. And also, but you wouldn't have already
wouldn't have
attacked.
done it anyway,
but before that, you attacked the house with a sword, and you've been seen with a machete and done other
Where
stuff.
is he now?
He's not allowed in Braintree. But
He's not in jail?
London, yeah.
He's not in prison, man. What's going on?
Yeah, can come back to me at any time. That's the fear I have to face.
As a community, this community's come together for a long while now. How much political support has there been from who? Reform are obviously a new party. What's the support been like?
Zero. I mean, the only person that's reached out just recently is Advance, but apart from that, zero. I mean, James Cleverley's a sir, but to me, he'll never be a sir. He got that on the backhand of Rishi Sunak. I wrote to him when this was happening with my family. I got a pathetic reply saying justice had been served. Well, it wasn't served, James Cleverley, and you've got two sons.
Did he throw acid? Was there an incident of acid or was
oil.
Hot oil?
Yeah, hot oil. That did happen, yes.
He threw hot oil at your children's
playhouse, yeah, my 3-year-old son's playhouse. I mean, even now, my son is 5 years old.
So we're going to do an in-depth story on this, so you need to see it all, yeah? And what you need to ask yourself, we met Rhiannon White's family yesterday, who was murdered by a Sudanese illegal immigrant. They knew he was illegal. He butchered her. We've seen 7 rapes in the last 7 days. We're now meeting Shell. How many more women like this are there? Now, this lady's brave enough. She's putting her face to the camera and she's telling her story. But originally, she went anonymously to Crime Stoppers because she was scared, right? Since speaking out, she's faced a lot more backlash. But how many more women like this are there in every town and city? They're being infected by what? By illegal immigration. That should not be here. This shouldn't be happening. This lady should never have had to live like this. The women of Braintree shouldn't have to live like this. 300 men with undocumented should not be bused into this town centre. The businesses should not be affected. So you've stepped up as a leader. I think, again, can I just ask you? You come across very well. I know how difficult it is. From my first interviews, all my first interviews, I've done about 10 vodkas and then stood there with the English defence. Yeah.
Can I just add on there? Someone has just said, this interview is brilliant. She's a great speaker. I'm smashing it.
But this is what I'm watching, yeah? I wanted to make that's the point I wanted to make because I know how difficult it is to stand in front of a camera, yeah? When you've never stood in front of a camera. So what's your history? Yeah. What have you done before this? Was you just a mother? Are you
Listen, I won't say what I really do. I probably won't have a job after this. But to be honest, I don't care.
You've done nothing like this before.
No, nothing. I'm not media trained. I've never spoke in front of. I used to be scared to speak in front of people. I just did makeup. But to be honest, I think I've got so much passion and drive. I feel like I'm fighting for my life in this situation. I'm fighting for the life of all women.
Mothers be inspired, yeah? And that's it. The time is now for mothers to rise up, and it's encouraging because they are. I watched the development of the Pink Ladies. I said earlier, at a demonstration last year, I bought a French group. I met the lady this week. She's fearless. She's amazing. Her name's Alice. I met her in Paris to walk the streets of Paris. We got attacked there, yeah? Wow. Videos coming next week. But we met her, and when I looked at that group, I thought, we need this. They're called Nemesis, yeah? And I looked at them. There's 500 female activists. And I looked at them and thought, Britain needs this. Women need to be inspired by this. The women are now standing up, because where are the feminist groups to talk about these issues? They're nowhere. So there's now a new army of mothers. I think you're going to inspire lots. Well done.
So.
Well done.
You.
I've been here today. Have you spoke to women here today?
Yep, we have.
And what have the women told you?
They've said they feel scared, Mr. Robinson. You have multiple convictions yourself. You apologise for your criminality.
No, excuse me. Sorry, sir. Let's get. We're here about the women in Braintree.
You apologise for your criminality, Mr. Robinson.
My criminality. Yeah. I've got a couple of criminal convictions, but I've faced lawfare since trying to talk up for communities like this. The reason you're here is because women are scared.
Contempt of court is not being a victim of lawfare, Mr. Robinson.
Excuse me. No, contempt of law. Just for the record, contempt of court is a civil offence. It's not actually criminal. So make sure. No, it's not criminal. It's civil. No, it's civil. You don't know what you're talking about. It's civil.
Being convicted of contempt of court.
It's civil. It's a civil offence.
Why you were sentenced for it?
Civil offence, mate. Civil. You don't know what you're talking about.
Assaulting an off-duty police officer, is that civil offence?
20 years ago. 20 years ago. Let's get why we're here. At least you know my criminal convictions, because you know the 800 men who are in their airbase. You don't know their criminal convictions, do you? You don't know who they are. No, I know that a woman, Rhiannon White, was murdered and butchered by one of these men. I know that 7 women last week were raped by these men, including 12-year-old children. So whilst you know what I'm about, so you can see what I'm about, yeah, you don't know who those 800 people are. You don't know how they think. You don't know where they've come from. You don't know if they're terrorists. You don't know if they're jihadis. You don't know if they've raped. You don't know if they've murdered. You know nothing, which is why the women are scared. So as you've just said, You've spoke to women. This isn't about me. Why are you making this about me? I'm here to report like you are as a journalist. Now, you should be reporting on why this entire town centre, as far as you can see, is full of locals. It's not full of local men. It's not full of local criminals. It's full of local women, local mothers, local grandmothers.
And women are also worried about the sexual abuse that comes from British citizens, isn't it? It's not something that's uniquely...
Excuse me, sir. These people are here because they're worried because they've lost their town centre. Do you know why you're losing? Do you know why no one listens to you? This is why no one listens to you. No, they're not going to listen to you either. You have an opportunity to come here today as a media, and you have an opportunity to give a voice to the voiceless. The voiceless are the women that are telling you how scared they are. You just said they're telling you how scared they are. And rather than come and tell the story of these women, you come and want to attack me over something I've done 20 years ago when I had a punch-up in the street 20 years ago.
I'm asking you why you're the one to lecture the public.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
You have no respect.
No, listen. I'll tell you why. Because you're not coming here to give them a voice. You're coming here to smear them. You're coming here to smear. So why are you making it about me? Why aren't? Okay, let me ask you.
You're saying that women don't feel safe.
Should they feel safe? Should women feel safe in the city centre?
Of course, women should feel safe.
So, do you think it's right that undocumented men that we know nothing about are busting into town centre in their hundreds every week? Do you think that's right?
I'm not here to answer your question.
Do you think it's right? Do you think it's right? As a man, as a British man, you're speaking to scared women. Should they be scared? Is it right they're scared in their own town?
My question to you.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. Why don't you answer a question? I'm asking you a question. Is it right that mothers, grandmothers, and children are scared in this town centre? Is it
not right that anyone feels scared? My question to you is why choose to focus on 600 people in Wethersfield Asylum Centre rather than the thousands of people every day who are convicted of sexual abuse?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. These men are from Sudan, legal age for marriage 11. These men are from nations like Afghanistan, 99% of them want Sharia law. That means they want to subjugate women.
99% of them want Sharia law. Where'd you get that from?
That's a Pew Research.
What do you mean Pew Research?
Pew Research. P-E-W, the biggest research and most recognised research there is. Pew Research. 99% of Afghanis in Afghanistan want Sharia law. When they come here, do you know what Sharia law is? Yes, they do. Fact. Do you know what Sharia law is?
Do you think all of the Afghan interpreters who work with the British military wanted Sharia law?
99% of them would have done, yes.
99% of the Afghans.
I'm telling you.
For British soldiers in Afghanistan want Sharia law.
Can I ask you? You're a journalist. What do you know about Islam?
I'm
asking you. Have you read the Quran? Have you read the Quran?
I'm not here to answer your question.
So what you're going to do is you can discuss...
I appreciate you speaking to us.
Okay, I'm talking to you, but what do you know about Afghanistan and how they think? Have you looked into how they think on women?
What do you know about Afghanistan?
I just told you what they think. I know, I've researched.
99% of Afghanis, as you call them,
want Sharia law.
Want Sharia law without any evidence for that fact at all. You've not been to Afghanistan and done a straw poll.
I've not done a straw poll.
Hey, don't waste your time.
No, okay, well, we can add this in. But let me ask you, yeah?
I appreciate you speaking to us, but you won't...
can I give you some advice? Because you're failing, you're losing viewers. The reason citizen journalists are here is because of your failure, yeah? The reason that I have become such a recognised journalist is because of your failure. It's because when you come to places like this and you report, I checked your reporting on issues yesterday, you label all these people as far right. I've checked, yeah? Far right demonstrations. What's far right about a nana or a mother or a daughter wanting safety? What's far right about that? What's far right about it?
I've not called anyone far right, Mr. Robson. I'm not here to...
No, ITV, your news, you're from ITV, you brand these people as far right on these demonstrations. So I'm going to ask you again. The Nans...
I'm not going to answer your question.
You can't answer.
No, I've asked you why you're here. You've explained...
I'm here as a journalist. I'm here as a journalist to do the job that you don't. That's why I'm here. Where's the start of the march? Let's get back on the march.
Migration 2.0. Australia's immigration, February 2026. Update. Australia's immigration framework is entering a new phase in February 2026, marked by tighter compliance, smarter digital processing, and a clear pivot towards skills that directly support the economy. These reforms affect international students, skilled migrants, and employer-sponsored applicants alike. The full version of this update is available on our website, link mentioned in the description below. This update outlines the February 2026 immigration implementation dates, examines the policy shifts reshaping Australia's migration program, and details the government's strengthened focus on compliance, integrity, and visa enforcement measures, helping applicants and employers understand how these changes may affect future visa planning and obligations. Let's begin with the February 2026 immigration implementation dates. From February 2026, Australia will introduce a traffic light visa processing model for student visas. Education providers will be classified into green, amber, or red zones based on how much of their enrolment cap they have used. Institutions operating below 80% of their cap fall into the green zone and will receive faster processing. Key dates also include the ACT Canberra Matrix Invitation round on 23rd February 2026 and ongoing state nomination rounds across Tasmania, South Australia and Western Australia for subclass 190 and 491 visas.
You don't like the flag?
Mayhem in Melbourne. Rival sides of the political divide on the rampage. What's brought it to this boiling point? Migration. In Sydney too, people took to the streets.
Why are you so angry? Because I've had enough!
No, it's not racist at all. It's just about mass immigration and people coming over and not assimilating with the Aussie way of life.
So you're against Muslim migration?
I am Islamophobic.
Yeah, definitely been called a terrorist, as well as being called the N-word.
Nazis are not welcome here! They're hatred! They're bigots!
Also marching, Australia's neo-Nazis, stoking fear, recruiting and fighting.
Oh, no!
What do you say to people who are saying that neo-Nazis have co-opted this movement?
I say that they're proud Australians that are standing up for our country against mass immigration. So long as they're not violent, they're welcome here.
The far right are actually merchants of hate.
The global debate over migration is heating up down under. At a demonstration called March for Australia, we meet Fran Grant and her friend Jerry in Sydney. They've joined a nationwide protest this year against Australia's migration levels.
Fran, why have you come?
Because I love Australia and I'm not happy with what's happening to it at the moment.
What's happening?
There are so many homeless people, veterans on the streets, there's not enough housing, and it looks like the Labor government are continuing to bring in immigrants that I have no problem with if we have the infrastructure to support it, and we don't.
What do you... say to people who say that this is a racist rally?
I would say Australians are not racist. It's the governments are telling us that we're racist. We are, the people that are walking today are Aussies. They're true blue Aussies.
I think Australia is a country for Australians. I think we've let enough people in. I think we need to close the gates and let the people who've come here assimilate to our culture.
Do they seem like far-right people to you? So immigration isn't working. It's never going to work. Here's what we've got to look forward to.
I am so fed up. So fed up of talking about the blimmin' migrant. I'm just so fed up of talking about it. Every single day, it's like, guess what? Someone's gone and attacked another girl. Oh, yeah, usual suspects. Here we go again. They don't listen. They will do anything to deceive the general public, to ignore the general public. They will fill towns and villages around this country with dangerous, undocumented migrant men. Can't wait for all those ones who've been given citizenship in Spain or whatnot to use their Schengen acquis to start journeying their way over to Calais. Oh, some will. This way they cometh. I mean, the only blooming good thing about Brexit so far, considering none of it has actually been applied, is the fact that at least we're not in that Schengen acquis, nor do we actually have to take any sort of proportion of these men who've broken into the continent of Europe. But anyway, here we go. We're going to have to talk about the blimmin' migrants crisis. Starmer is facing calls from Labour MPs to scrap plans to put asylum seekers in new council homes. He might have to do yet another U-turn. Good, I hope so too. Around 200 local authorities have registered interest in a pilot scheme that would fund building homes or refurbishing derelict sites for asylum seekers. Who are these 200 local authorities? What are they smoking? Why do they think this is in the interest of the people that they are paid to represent? I'm sick to death of hearing more and more stories of people who frankly shouldn't be here. They should be deported. They should be rattling around in an detention centre for maximum 3 weeks before they're booted out. No recourse to any sort of retrial or, 3, 4, 5 goes at rolling the dice with an immigration lawyer. It's got to stop. We can pull the emergency lever saying national security right now. We've got enough evidence that some of these people have direct connections to terrorist organisations, and yet on we go. I'm thinking about where I live. If all of a sudden they turn around and said, oh yeah, that spa hotel up the road, the family-run one that hasn't got as much footfall and actually is creaking because of, I don't know, employers' national insurance gone up, energy bills gone up, business rates gone up, minimum wage gone up, you name it. Most hostelries out there are really struggling to make ends meet. So, when the big Labour-affiliated international companies come along and say, how about we pay you triple the price of a room for the next 5 years, all you got to do is have these characters in there. If that happened up the road from me, I'd be devastated. It would change my world, my life, irreversibly. Why on earth was it ever a good idea to put these randos who've broken into the country top of the list to get new council homes when we know there's a chronic housing shortage in this country? They disgust me. What is wrong with them? Stephen, good. U-turn. Get on with it, Sir Keir. The only thing I like about Sir Keir Starmer is the fact that he seems to know where the handbrake turn is. He's going around the supermarket car park like a psychotic teenage joyrider when it comes to flipping and flopping on policy. But at least actually, when he does a U-turn, it's putting things off and back in a sensible-ish direction.
No, be careful. There was a U-turn over the farming tax that only protected a small proportion of those it had already hurt. There was a U-turn over business rates that only protected a small proportion of those it had hurt. There is an alleged U-turn over digital ID, which will still see digital ID brought in. And I would be very careful to trust any U-turn on this at all. I suspect what you will see is central government not putting migrants into council houses and local government doing it instead, so that he can say, we haven't put them into council houses. I suspect that's the level of manipulative dishonesty we have come to expect from our Prime Minister. So I'm afraid no. And Alex, these people are always at war with maths, all right? Every day, X hundred people arrive illegally by boat. And that carries on, and it carried on under the Conservative government and under the Labour government. And that's just more people, okay? That's just maths. That's just more mouths to feed. That's more people to heat. That's more people to house. And it's just maths. And every day they consume resources. We've already maxed out the hotels in our country. I mean, I have been on a holiday, and I don't feel I need to cover up for the government, but I have been on a holiday with my child where there were migrants in our hotel, and they were fed differently. I always get on with staff, Alex. So I talk to everybody, and I'm a bit of a chatter. So you can't have me in any organisation without me getting on with the receptionist and the cleaner. It's just normal. It's what I do. So they were more than happy to explain where they were, and I saw the big room where we had breakfast elsewhere, and they had breakfast there. They're simply maths. You can't go to war with maths, Alex, because eventually you just lose. And the more numbers that they increase, the more we won't have any hotel capacity. So they'll have to go somewhere else. What is utterly tragic, and what I hope, I think, because using a platform like this is a great privilege. So I'd like to highlight that a homeless veteran died almost on the steps of a migrant hotel in the last few days. What? And we do not care for our homeless veterans at all. And instead we are wasting our money on these migrant men who do commit the most atrocious crimes. I limit myself, Alex, to when they're convicted or they plead guilty, because again, I don't want to prejudice a trial. So if you see a report of so-and-so arrested, I immediately go, have they pled guilty? Or if they're going to plead innocent, then I have to stay away from it. But that was two today. And if you think about it, you're always looking at the thin end of the wedge when you get to actual convictions. That there will be this many crimes. There will be this many crimes reported. There will be this many crimes that go to trial, and then there will be this many convictions. So you are really looking at the tiny point of it. These are dangerous migrant men. 600 of them in Crowborough.
Exactly. Even then, if you try and get any information out of this government, how much are we spending on whatnot for the migrants? How many council houses have been given? Where have they been allocated? How much is that cost? How many people on the council house waiting list compared to how many houses have been given away? Whatever the data that you're looking for, they obfuscate. They find reasons not to give it. Oh, well, it's not in the public interest to have that. They will lie to us. They do everything under the cover of darkness. And, talking about these reports we're seeing day in, day out, and like you said, the ones that make it to the newspaper, which are a daily occurrence now, basically, will be a tiny proportion of what's really going on. And when you look at this, you realise, you look at the way that some of the people traffickers are using social media platforms to recruit their customers, and they're putting up videos at Bournemouth Beach and putting up videos of lasses on a night out in the Toon, scantily clad, staggering around in their towering heels.
As they have, Alex, every right so to do.
Right.
I really hate this modern culture of blaming the victim.
Yes.
If a young lady wishes to have an exciting night upon the tiles, then it is her right to be safe when she so does. That's the country I wish to live in.
But these men, I'm sorry, some of them, There will be some who come over because they want to pull a fast one and make a load of money. You know, I calculated the other day, if you're working cash in hand, wherever it may be, a car wash, or delivering takeaways, you know, say you're being paid 50 quid a day, you ain't paying tax on that, you're not paying your accommodation, you're not paying any other food and stuff, you're making it, say, 250 quid a week, say that's £1,000 a month tax-free, that's more spending money than the average person on £100,000 got when all the bills have come out.
And if you send it back home,
yes,
it's disproportionately more money.
Oh, it's about a year's worth of wages.
It's very obviously what is happening.
Yes, of course.
It's quite obvious that we are being rinsed and our money is being taken away.
But there are other men who are coming over who are opportunists, quite frankly, I believe, coming over as sexual tourists.
Well, I think that is sadly the word for it. And if you admit a group, and this is why the whole racism thing was such a waste of time. Racism is inherently stupid because humans are all the same. And young adult men are very largely all the same. And therefore they are dangerous in groups, large groups. I don't care if it was 600 Anglo-Saxon young men that were imported into Crowborough. In fact, my ancestors had a history of being a bit dodgy too. You know, 600 Vikings never went well in our history. This isn't about skin colour. This is about the simple practicalities of maths. We are importing proportionally dangerous people who we have to pay for and we can't afford. Yeah. And they will end up with council houses. They will. You know they will.
And they'll be stitching up their bomb vests beyond the watchful eye of, you know, the state. Don't you worry about that. Who knows what they're going to get up to when they can, I don't know, cut their drugs not in a hotel room. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, I'm like you. I don't care what package someone comes in. I don't care what colour anyone's skin is. I really do not. I do care a lot about the metal of someone's pasture. I do care about the culture within which they were raised and how compatible their morals are compared to our own. But you know, here we go. We're finding out that councils are spending millions and millions of pounds on social care for these men, because they are largely men, for adult asylum seekers. Kent Council has spent £40 million in 1 year. I mean, they do seem to have a lot of them down there because of the way they enter this country. But, you know, my view of this is, first of all, why on earth, when we've got so many backlogs, we're always hearing about mental health, we've got no social care, we've got this, you have to wait 2 years for talking therapy, blah, 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 blah. We know how bad it is in the UK, and once again, they're prioritised and put to the front of the queue. But also, and I hasten to add, there will be a lot of these young men who, quite frankly, are mentally unstable. There will be, the ones who actually are the genuine refugees, so to speak, who are coming from war zones, who have seen bloodshed and violence. A lot of them actually will be mentally unstable. Many of them will be ticking blimmin' time bombs.
Yes, they will. And I have a lot of sympathy for councils, regardless of which political party is technically or nominally in control of them, because over the years, central government has effectively neutered local government. Local government has obligations on its spending, which is, the biggest one is adult social care. The second one was created by the last Conservative government, which is send taxi provision. I've absolutely no idea what it thought it was doing, but overnight it became the second biggest expenditure of most councils.
On that one, do you know, I was just speaking to a friend today who does a bit of auditing and was looking into various councils, and I said, I reckon if some of these big, especially the sort of big metropolitan councils and authorities, were fully audited and checked for fraud, I think we will find a frightful amount of dodgy goings on, especially when it comes to some of those funny taxes that seem to cost £1 million a year to take one child to school.
Yeah, that we are being rinsed. Everything that's going on in the United States will be happening here.
Oh, yeah.
We're just behind them. But in Kent Council, I have a particular sympathy because they are, and Essex and anybody else who's on the coastline facing these invaders. So Sussex and all the others who will be forced to pay for this. It's very easy to sort of sit there up in Northumberland and say, well, we're managing our books and you're increasing taxes. It's like, well, yes, because we're on the forefront of effectively an invasion or an invasion of cost. You know, this is cost. This is what this is. Every migrant who gets off a boat is a cost. The minute they get here, they are a cost. And I've seen all sorts of things, Alex, so I know exactly what they're given. They're given new shoes, they're given new trousers, they're given new clothes, they're given their old clothes back. They have medical examinations, they're given a phone, they are bussed to one location that they're supposed to get out of very quickly, where nominally reviews of them occur, although because of the numbers coming, they just, to meet the target of getting them out quickly enough, I'm not thoroughly convinced that it's actually a real assessment goes on. And then they're stuck in these hotels. Many of them do disappear then. They go simply into the black market, into criminality. But that too is a massive danger to us. I don't know what human society, in the history of human societies, would ever have thought this was a good idea. It is an obviously stupid thing to do. You know, and again, you know, back to the whole, they've controlled us with this threat of calling us racist. Right, well, I'll go back in history. Give me a time machine and I'll get you a Roman to say that this is bonkers. I'll get you a Greek to say that this is bonkers. I'll get you a Babylonian to say that this is bonkers. It's obviously bonkers. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And I have friends in sub-Saharan Africa particularly on the East Coast, they think this is insane. Everybody thinks this is insane. This is insane. Why are you taking these people?
It is so insane, and actually, you know, we should both go back and speak to some of our relatives, because I hail from North Stock as well. And we pretty much invented invading over the English Channel, didn't we?
The sad reality of all this is, viewers, that once migration becomes a means of a political agenda rather than the benefit of the country, you're beginning what's called the demise of that civilization. You're allowing a warless takeover to take place at the expense of the people that have given their lives paying tax and all the rest of it to get that country where it is. Now, I'm going to close with this little incident in Sydney. Now, we're going to watch an incident with another car chase. This is becoming almost a weekly, multiple weekly, daily event per week, and we're going to see if we can see the ethnicity of the person that's caused this trouble.
Good afternoon. A wild police chase through Sydney's western suburbs has come to a dramatic end. The driver smashed into 10 cars before ploughing through a tyre shop where police finally cornered him. Emily Francis has the story.
Good afternoon. This was the end of the line for a man who led police on a chase through several western Sydney suburbs. The pursuit began in Granville just after 10 this morning. From there, it continued through Parramatta, Guildford and Milperra.
Parramatta, Guildford, Milperra, that's been taken over by immigrants, and probably legal ones, but that's not the point, is it?
The sedan stopping after a crash here in Condell Park.
Okay, there he is. I'm going to ask you, do you think that guy's flat out Australian? I don't.
Before the driver gets out,
there he is.
Runs through a nearby business.
There he goes.
But he didn't get far. Police quickly swarmed the scene and caught up with their target.
Then you just say 6 cops just run past us. Blood gets slammed onto the floor over there.
Okay, no offence, but that guy hasn't got an Australian accent. I just want to go back. Did the guy sing out Allah Akbar when he was being arrested? Just listen very carefully. I'm going to slow this down. We'll see, just as a matter of interest.
Police quickly...
No, he didn't. He didn't sing out Allah Akbar. Back to the report.
Swarmed the scene and caught up with their target.
Then you just say 6 cops just run past us. Blood gets slammed onto the floor over there. 3 coppers on him.
Chaos. There was police cars, and a few minutes later there was some helicopters flying over, and looked up the street and there was carnage.
I've never seen anything like this before, so I was just, to be honest, just rattled. He could have hurt some innocent people.
The driver has been arrested with charges expected to be laid.
Police say they're trying to track down a group of teenage hoons who illegally rode their e-bikes onto the Sydney harbour.
The Allen government has been forced to apologise after hundreds of train passengers were left stranded on a sweltering train for more than 2 hours. They'll be offered 1 day free travel as compensation.
Walking the tracks in sweltering heat after being trapped aboard 2 new high-powered trains.
No.
We were told that there was, a wire issue and there was live electricity, so we couldn't actually get off the train.
600 passengers stranded in the evening peak. 2.5 hours, no air conditioning and no answers. Commuters had to take it in turns to get fresh air.
If you were feeling faint, you could go up to the driver's carriage.
Yesterday was a disgrace. It was third world conditions.
The Transport Minister is blaming a sagging cable.
Now, I've said that Australia is turning into a third world country. If you look at the state of the roads, they're dangerous. If you look at the failure of the government, if you just watch the Senate estimates, watch Parliament, watch where the government gets challenged. They're failing on every responsibility. There's more government employees, record amount of government employees. No. And they're just bunging on the immigration. Viewers, Australia is not being led by people who have Australia as their best interest. It's too big, it's out of control, they haven't got their fingers on the pulse. You better live every day the best that you can for your personal enjoyment, because you just can't go down these rabbit holes. It's one thing after the other. I'm out, viewers.